first unit we're looking at today is LR AGL Super Buu. I mean, this is one of the most notorious things you can think about when it comes to a random release. LR AGL Super Buu came out as the Part 2 LR for Kale. Yeah, they have almost no correlation at all, minus the fact that they're on transformation boost together, but it just didn't make sense. Kale needed Universe 6 allies, and Super Buu didn't provide that. And on top of that, they just have no chemistry altogether. I mean, Super Buu is an LR, so he's legendary power, they don't have any links together, they just don't work together. It didn't make much sense at all. And what's worse is this Majin Buu came out without any help. Like, he came out, again, as the Part 2 LR for Kale, but Majin Power at this time was not good at all. And there is nothing in his kit that helps Kale. There's no support, there's no, like, he's, I guess, a slot 1 unit, but once again, their links are nowhere near even identical to each other. In fact, they probably only shared Fierce Battle. So it just didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense why he came out during this time. It felt like this unit could have been saved for, like, I don't know, a different day, a different year. I mean, he was a fun unit. I loved this LR. It just didn't make sense. But, I mean, Kale really could have used like an LR hit there, an LR caulifla, right? We got Super Buu instead, which, again, I love his animations. I think he's a really cool unit. I just don't think it was appropriate to release him with Kale, who needed Universe 6 help. All right, next we have the LR INT Ginyu Force. Now, I only say this is random because I just don't think anyone ever expected this unit to be the unit that was in that spot. I don't think it necessarily is too far of a deviation of what we saw with Topo that didn't make this unit feel like it was welcomed. It was a special pose unit, our leader, that needed special pose help, and well, they got special pose help, for sure. But at the same time, they really could have used another Pride Trooper unit in this spot. I think we could have seen more help for Topo if it was actually Universe 11 and not just Special Pose. I do think Ginyu's good, don't get me wrong, but I do think that there just could have been a better choice of Special Pose here than the Ginyu Force, which once Topo is gone, they weren't that good. You know, I do like that they are Special Pose restricted though. It's not a unit that's restricted on Ginyu Force, right? Which is, you know, generally what we see with the Ginyu Force unit. So it works. I mean, this unit makes sense, and it's, you have to run a full special pose team. But you know, there are things like this active skill, which is like you can get it turn 3 with Ginyu Force characters, or special pose on turn 5, right? So there is certain stuff that does exist for this unit that is Ginyu Force related, but again, generally it is special pose. So I think for the help of Topo, it makes sense. I just think that it would have been more appropriate to give Topo a linking partner that helped him out, that had tough as nails, right? That's another thing too. That was a big thing for this unit, and I know it's such a small thing to talk about, but Topo relied heavily on every ounce of defensive damage reduction that you could give him. And with the help of Tough as Nails, which came from the side banner unit sub EZA, the INT Pride Troopers, it helped him out get that extra 5% damage reduction. But we really did need probably a more proper you know, Part 2 LR that could help link with him. And that could have been basically that same card, but done as an LR, or a Dispo done as an LR. Now, Dispo wouldn't have Tough as Nails, so it wouldn't really help him there anyways, but I do think that there could have been a different approach to this Part 2 LR that would have helped Topo in the long run. But overall, it's not the worst release in the world, but it definitely is pretty left field. Next one is LR Fizz Pycon. Now, this one, I don't really want to say, I think this is, I think the further we go in this video, I feel like the association between the Part 1 Dokkan Fest and the Part 2 LR is a little closer. This Pycon not the worst release in the world for sure. I mean, the Cell needed some tournament participant help, and, you know, Pycon provided it. And if you remember, the EZAs before it even came out was Pycon and Super Kaioken Goku, and then we got the Janemba and the Pycon EZA, so it wasn't the worst thing in the world for sure for this unit. It made sense, and he also relied on tournament participants in his own kit for Pycon. So it's not terrible, but I think there's things we could talk about that we could have saw here instead, right? What about an MVP 17, right? I feel like an MVP 17 as a tournament participant android would have helped a lot. Now, Do I think that Python didn't deserve an LR? No, I do think he deserved one. But I do think there's a world where we probably should have got somebody on the full 220% for Cell and not the 170, because that's the issue, right? The issue right now is this Cell does not lead PyCon for the full 220%. He leads 170% for PyCon, but he doesn't give him the full leader skill. The MVP 17 would have been on his full leader skill and given him better links, you know, shocking speed, sure, fierce battle for sure. Well, actually, I say that cell links are weird. Cell links are cell links at the end of the day, I suppose, but still, it would have been a nice thing to have for his team, just a new MVP 17, just androids 220%. It would have made more sense, in my opinion. Now, PyCon's still not an awful choice. I think PyCon's a good unit. He's a tournament participant, so of course it helps out Cell anyways. But I do think that maybe we could have gotten a better choice for that spot, just to help either Cell out or just give a character that actually has a home in LR. You know, maybe try that for once. All right, the next one we have is the LR STR 5 guys, as I like to call them, or as you guys want to call them, the LR STR Z Fighters. Essentially, it's the 5 of them who fought Hatchiyak as an LR. I think this unit is a good LR. I just don't think it makes any sense for the celebration. It was Yamcha. INT Yamcha was the Dokkan Fest. Then, weirdly, we got the, the Battlefield LR Hatchiyak, and then they released these guys. So, I mean, in terms of that makes sense, right? But for Dokkan Fest to Carnival, it made zero sense. Where we went from Yamcha to the 5 guys, we got Hatchiyak in that celebration, and we got Easy LR INT Bojack. It's just like they decided just to release whatever they wanted during that celebration, and it made zero sense at all. One of those confusing celebrations of all time, but it also shows you that they actually don't care what you think. They're just going to do what they want. So, I mean, it's a good unit overall. It was 100% random. It was also our first Carnival, I believe, outside of a main celebration, so no one even expected this to even happen in the first place. That's what makes it even more random, was it was a Carnival unit as well, which made it even more random for that spot. It was a Christmas Carnival, so maybe they were just trying to get something out there that would be more appealing than, I don't know, a Cyberman LR or a Nappa LR. I mean, I get that, right? But I don't know, maybe Yamcha shouldn't have been your part 1 DFE in the first place for that spot. I don't know. That's just me. I mean, it worked out in the end, but it was just a really weird part 1 and part 2. All right, next we have the LR INT Super Saiyan Trio. Now, to be fair, for this celebration, it was the Android 21 celebration. And on top of that, a lot of us were interested to see who would the part 2 LR be in the first place. We were thinking maybe it could be like a Super Spirit Bomb with Goku, since that's what beat the Android 21, or maybe a Cell and a Frieza. You know, there was a lot of questions about who we could see in the spot, because there really was no evident part 2 LR for an Android 21 celebration. So I guess it's not the most random release in the world that they released a unit that at least fought an Android. But I still would say it was a complete deviation from anything we were expecting at that point. Still was welcomed, but it was definitely interesting to see a unit that corresponds with Android 13 comes out during an Android 21 celebration, the 3 Super Saiyans. Now, it made for a perfect Christmas unit, Carnival unit, but it still felt off. Now, I don't really know what else you would put in that spot for it not to feel off, I guess. Maybe you do like an LR clones unit, like of all the clones of the Goku, the Piccolo, the Krillin, the Vegeta. Maybe you do something like that. Maybe that's something you could approach to make it feel a little more associated with the 21 celebration. Or here's another thing too, which I guess they did it with the side banner unit, but if they didn't use the side banner unit, they could have done Evil 21 as like an LR, right? That would have been something interesting to see there as well. I'm not complaining with the unit. I think they're actually one of my favorite units to come out as a Carnival, especially once the Fizz Trio came out and he ran them together. Very fun rotation. But again, still is a bit off and a little weird just based on what it was a crossover slot. And we got a canon, well, not a canon, but a movie LR. Yes, fought on Android, but it just, I don't know, it didn't fit the whole theme that was going on there. All right, next we have the LR STR Cell Max. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the later and later we get in this video, the more and more it feels like these LRs associate with Dokkan Fest. These last two we're going to talk about, though, definitely don't, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But the LR STR Cell Max, to me, just felt so left field. Now, we should have saw it coming based on the EZAs that were coming out during that time. Yes, we had the Super EZA Fizz Goku Black, but we also did have the EZAs for Kale and Caulifla, which was a little weird, but it was super bosses, so I guess it made sense. But when it came time to predicting for the yellow coin LR for that spot, not a single person even said Cell Max. And I don't blame them. No one was, first of all, expecting Cell Max to be a yellow coin LR. Second of all, no one was thinking that Cell Max really would fit the theme here. Even though it is super bosses, it would make more sense for like Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta to finally get this spot. We didn't have that Vegeta who's done the ground pound attack in forever, until now recently, of course, but you know, at that time we did not have him, and you could do some Super EZA stuff there as well. It just made sense, it lined up. But then they released Cell Max, and no one was mad about it. Everyone was very happy we got a Cell Max. It was very good, very broken. It just didn't fit the theme. Now, granted, Cell Max ended up being significantly better than Rose, and honestly, it probably ended up becoming a Cell Max celebration more than it became a Rose celebration, which is pretty funny to say. But I mean, Cell Max, you know, he got his release he deserved, for sure. Animation quality was peak, but it definitely did not correspond with Rose, outside, of course, the super bosses, you know, linking them together. But outside of that, man, there was not much that linked those two together at all. And link-wise, of course, and team help-wise, they really didn't do that much for each other. All right, next we have the INT Hybrid Trio, the most, I guess not most recent LR, but the LR that we got for the August DFE, you know, the EX part for the Global Dokkan campaign. You know, this is a fairly random LR. I don't think it was not welcomed. I just think it wasn't expected. Now, we did talk about it as a community that we didn't think that this LR would be something we would expect, and it would be something kind of cheesy, like an Endo Z Goku, and I think the INT Hybrid still fulfilled that thing of quote-unquote being cheesy, like a goodbye, not a typical unit, right? And I don't think it was a bad thing. I think it's good Gohan with a tag, Goten and Trunks makes sense. I just think that it felt a little redundant, especially because we had got the family Kamehameha Gohan the year prior to this Gohan, and this Gohan really feels very close to home to the family Kamehameha Gohan, outside the fact that he has Goten and Trunks with him, and he does, you know, other stuff clearly, but I mean, one of the actives is literally them just redoing the family Kamehameha, but Trunks is there instead. So, I mean, it works, but it just feels like it's taking a lot of stuff we've already gotten recently. We got Gotenks recently, we had the family Kamehameha recently, we've had, you know, Goten and Trunks tag unit recently. Like, there's just a lot of things that didn't feel fresh about the unit. It doesn't mean it wasn't good, it doesn't mean their animations weren't great. You know, I think there's a lot of things that make the unit really good, and it was a decent choice, but I mean, we're talking about, like, would you rather have LR Baby there or LR and Hybrids? Probably Baby. Baby makes more sense for the celebration since it was GT and Super, and they threw in another Majin Buu Gohan, which didn't really fit the bill at all. So, you know, it was really weird to talk about this unit as associating with the Global Dokkan campaign. I mean, even outside of it, I would still say it was a random release if it came out just August by itself, because why is it an LR, first of all, and second of all, why is it specifically this unit as an LR? I think there's a lot of questions for that kind of unit. Speaking of this kind of unit, that brings us to my final two units of this video, that is LR AGL Kaiku and LR INT Zehan. These two just don't make sense. I mean, if you look at the 8th anniversary as a Spirit Bomb anniversary, which is what it was, then sure, I get it. You got the Super Spirit Bomb, the GT Spirit Bomb, then part 2s you had the Spirit Bomb from the intro and the Spirit Bomb from the intro. I get that, but I think the biggest issue I have is the fact that it should have been Omega and Kid Buu, right? Or something of that mixture. I just don't think it makes sense. Like, no one predicted these two as a part 2 LR, not even close. They're like an original concept. I think it's cool. I just don't know if they're anniversary level worthy. Now, if you did these like let's just say it was a random DFE. The first DFE was Kid Gohan, and he had the same thing, and then the part 2 LR was the Kaiku. Like, something like that would feel fresh, unique, and new, but not something you really should be shoving into a main celebration when you have way more important units to get out during that time. Now, a lot of people are going to defend Kaiku to the end of their days, and that's fine. I get that. I just don't think it was an appropriate unit that we needed in this game. It could have been a support memory or something else, but I just don't think we needed an entire unit based on the intro of the show. as part of an anniversary. Now, again, as a unit as a whole, I don't care. I think it's a fine concept. I just think that there was better options for that spot. And even if you wanted to go for a 4 Spirit Bomb anniversary, we could have had revived UI Goku in that spot with a Super Spirit Bomb or the Universal Spirit Bomb coming there, and then like a Namek Goku with the Spirit Bomb he used on Frieza, which would also fulfill the conditions just fine. But let what you guys think in the comments below. If you guys agree or disagree with the units on this list, let me know in the comments below. Of course, the first link in the description is to my Dokkan Battle content videos. Second one, all of them are boys. My second one is to all of my Dokkan Battle content videos in general. And then my third link in the description is to G Fuel. Use code LR24 at checkout for 20% off. Make sure to check out the G Fuel 2.0 flavor, where they've renovated all these old flavors and got them a new punch of flavor just for you. So go check it out. It is truly amazing. And I'll see you guys in the next one.